Hi, I'm Jane O'Reilly, and this is Ageless. I'm 40 and my life is just getting started. I'm here to share real talk and real experiences about how to live life ageless. Nothing's off the table. You know the vibes. Let's go. Hi, I'm Jane O'Reilly. Welcome back to Ageless. And today I am joined by an ageless, intelligent, beautiful, and exciting new guest, Dr. Frieda Birnbaum. She is a sought-after research psychologist and psychotherapist and an award-winning author of Life Begins at 60 and What Price Power. Dr. Frieda is an expert in family dynamics, parenthood, relationships, addiction, anxiety, and depression. She is also a seasoned media personality and commentator. And she has a podcast called The Dr. Frieda Show, Pushing the Limits. She is living proof that age is no longer a limitation after having twins at 60, the oldest woman in America to give birth to twins. Dr. Frieda, you do it all. Welcome to the show.
Well, it's my pleasure. What an introduction. Wow. But I'll tell you, it's really all about who you are. It's nothing else. It's not even about your education. It's about learning about life and having a passion for life always, into your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, if you can do it. As long as we can breathe, we can contribute in some way. And that's what makes life worthwhile. It's not even the amount of years. It's about what you're getting in with those years that we have. But look, we obviously have changed. Our society has to catch up with that change because individually, I see women, and the part that bothers me is they don't tell their age. And if they would, I'm 75. And if they would, people would say, oh, this is what 60 looks like. Instead, they're saying 10 years younger. Well, the reality is, I was not going to tell the truth about my age either. I always said I was 10 years younger than I was, especially with these children. But then a doctor in the hospital said to me, a head doctor, actually, Dr. Manny, he's on TV too. And he said, tell the truth. Who cares about you being so, small-minded? No one's going to know anything. You're being very narcissistic. So I said, okay, I'll tell the truth. But from that, there was a media blitz. And somehow the number 6, if I was 59, but the number 60 hit a nerve, and from all over the world. And they came running to meet me. They had a special switchboard operator. There was a guard outside as if I did something, I don't know. And they took me through some tunnel and, to get out. And there was media all over when I got home.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was really amazing. My phones didn't stop. I had to take another number. But really, what was going on was not so much that I had these twins, that I didn't know I was going to have because I almost miscarried. And the doctor said, it's over, but we made sure that it wasn't. We took care of it, and I ended up having twins. But it's that, what does age mean today for women, and having opportunities not to listen to anybody, but who you are, and to know that at a certain stage, you are more who you are than when you were younger, because you're not figuring it out as much, but you have to keep growing all through life. That's what life is about. Every 5 years, you should reassess yourself. What changes have I made? Where do I want to go? My podcast is about your history, your success, and your future plans. And so that's the way life has more meaning when you get up in the morning and you say to yourself, okay, what am I doing today? And when you go to sleep at night, what did I do today? Did the day have meaning to my existence?
I absolutely love that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I can talk forever. If you want me to, I will. If you want to ask me questions,
Yeah.
interrupt.
Okay, I'll interrupt. First thing, I was just like what you were saying about lying about age. I just omitted I knew I never looked my age. I just turned 41 like a
Good for
couple
you. You
weeks
look like you're
ago.
31. I want
Thank
everyone
you
to
so
know.
much. I
Me
thank
too.
you for that. I usually get somewhere between 28 and 35. And, it's because I take care of myself, but I've also never felt my age. I always have felt like I'm somewhere between 16 and 19 years old. And, I just want to play. And I feel like we can do that. And so having that youthful vibe has allowed me to, you know, not have to tell my age, but I felt like omission is lying. Omission is lying. So when I started this podcast, it's in my intro. I say I just turned 40 and I feel like my life has just begun. And I know you say that in your book, life begins at 60. And I just loved that because I absolutely relate to it. And owning my age has it's given me a self-awareness I didn't ever have before. And I loved that you brought that up. But that leads me to my next question about redefining age. So on this podcast, like I said, I share about when I turned 40 and I felt like my life was just beginning. What does redefining age look like to you?
First of all, I love what you said about playing, being playful. That's so important because when you're playful, that helps you to go ahead and move forward and to have a clear mind. So you can't just always be focused and structured because it takes away from the whole picture. And to step back and be objective really is the way to look at your own life as well. So the question was, how is it that I'm defining age? Was that the question? I don't even, I talk
Yeah,
over
what does
myself.
redefining age look like to you?
Well, developmentally, we are pretty much together. When we're talking about 20, 30, 40, 50s, not 60s yet, uh, having children, changing careers, changing relationships, traveling. It's all defined within that scope. So it's not so much as your role models are so defined anymore. And because of that, you can keep making changes into your 60s and onward about what it means. Now, I speak about, so first of all, what does that mean? I speak about also words that we use because the words that we use really express us in a way that does not really contribute to where we are. So when we talk about middle age, it sounds like it's on a decline, but really it should be peak age because that's when you're not falling apart yet and you have all your resources and you're able to go ahead and see yourself on the incline. You are doing things, you're freer. You perhaps your children are grown, or you're not having to pay the mortgage or whatever it is. So it's really have looking at fearfulness and what that means, and women especially because they've been objectified a lot, fear getting older. But the problem is when you look back 10 years later, you see you weren't that old. And also, as you keep moving forward, it becomes more exciting to my surprise. I was more excited about life when I turned 60 or 63 or 65. And here I am in the media with 30-year-olds. But it's wonderful because there's something about it, an energy that I didn't have before. I just was looking for other people. And so the excitement is I know myself very clearly and I know myself where I want to go. I just want to tell your listeners, it's really about who you are and where you see yourself, because the journey, as they say, is what makes it most exciting.
I absolutely agree with that 100%. And I wanted to get a little bit more of the backstory on being the oldest woman in America to give birth to twins. I have twin brothers. I absolutely loved growing up with twins. I actually want to have twins. And actually, before we get to that story, what I want to tell you is thank you so much for being an inspiration. As I am getting older, I am actually wanting to have babies for the first time in
I
my
love it.
life.
That's the
And
best time, by the way. This is the
is
best
it?
time for, of course, when you're 20 and you're 30 and the world is there and you're learning, your brain doesn't develop till you're 26 anyway.
Mhm.
And then with that, women today are more educated. They have careers. They're not going to be dependent on someone and know what it is to have a good relationship. So you're really better later is much better. And there's in vitro, there's all kinds of things as well. So I think this is more exciting and you appreciate it more. When I had my first set, and I was 26 when I had my first child, uh, he was wonderful, but I didn't know that he could be horrible. I thought that, you know what I mean? I thought this is the way it's supposed to be. He got the grades, he was a nice kid, whatever, whatever. And then, you move on and you see around you what's going on, and then you look at yourself, and you have to also um, look and see what it is you want. I think in the 40s, you really know you want a child. You really
Yeah,
are
that's what I'm
anxious.
going through.
Yeah.
That's because I always said I'm never going to have kids. I'm never going to have kids. I want to travel the world. My lifestyle doesn't really work with, having children. It's not something I ever felt like an innate sense to breed. I just have never had that until, oh my gosh, I'm in the most beautiful, serious relationship right now. And
Oh, I'm
he
so
and
happy for
I,
you. Wow.
thank you. And he and
Exciting.
I together want to have babies, and I genuinely want that. And so when I found out that you were going to be on my podcast today, I was like, I just know the universe, it has our best intentions always. And I do feel like it was just a divine experience to feel like, oh my gosh, I actually want to have a child. But to your point about, the 40s being ready, I think I never wanted children because I never felt like I was ready. It
And
wasn't
that's
that
so
I
important.
I hate kids or anything, because I think kids are beautiful, but I just never thought I could have them, and I finally do. And so I
I'm
couldn't
very
wait to tell
happy.
you that.
You're going to be, you have to let me know when you have this child. I'm not kidding either, because I want to
Oh,
share in that excitement with you and
thank
for you to
you.
have that to look forward to. I mean, this is important what we're doing and the message that we're sending out. But, life itself is the best role model. And for you to see clearly that you're in a good place, you're ready to have a child, and you're going to enjoy that child more than anything when you weren't ready. So it's a good message for other women to know that do it when you want to, not when you have to. And today, with assisted help, that we have more of that choice as well. It's the best time for
Yeah.
you.
I mean, IVF kind of scares me, but I I'm
Are,
going to freeze my eggs. I'm going to freeze my eggs because it's not going to happen today or tomorrow, but I'm thinking maybe a year from now, it might make sense. But I just get so nervous about being, what if I'm 42, 43? But you have given me hope that it's possible.
Yeah, not only that, you could have a child when you're 44. If you still have the reproductive system and your flowing, your activity, your body is still open to having a child. There are women who have had their own children. I had one when I was 53.
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah, and then I froze the eggs. So I just want to say that yes, freezing the eggs is not a bad idea, but you could be capable of having children into your 40s, for sure. I have a daughter who's 44,
Mm.
and she is going to soon see if she can go ahead and have a child. And women have done that. So it depends how fertile you are and who you are. When I
Hmm.
was 44, I got pregnant, but I miscarried because I wasn't careful. I was traveling and doing everything. So, yeah.
Okay.
So don't feel that it's over till it's really over.
I
But
genuinely don't feel that way. And I also believe, I feel like there's something greater than human power out there, and I have a higher power. And I just know if I just trust that I'm supposed to have this baby, then I have nothing to worry about. If it's
that's right.
divinely planned, then what do I have to fear?
That's why a lot of people they adopt and then they have a child naturally because they're more relaxed, they're less fearful, And that's really right. But I think it's more natural for women to have my practice. I had a lot of women coming in their mid 30s after they had their children, and they were disillusioned with where they were going because it was about taking care of the children. And so when you took care of yourself now and you have that perspective, then you could always go back to what you built up, or you can be pregnant and do that as well. It's things have changed. Men are more nurturing, so your husband could be helpful, or you could get help with what you're doing, because the most guilty women in my research were women who had to work and leave their children. But women who chose to work and leave their children did not feel guilty. And children who had mothers who worked had more confidence. So things have changed. I mean, when I was going to school and I had children, I have two children, I was told that I was not a great mother to do that. I mean, now everybody's working and kids and the whole thing. So it really depends on doing what's right for you. And did I lose a few friends? Yeah, but who cares? And I always, along the line, decided to make these kind of changes for myself. And my daughter also is a professional and also has a career, and also didn't get married early, and decided and was very picky, and finally found somebody that she's involved with, like you. And also, it's a different world today with the way we live our lives. So moving in together, where before it was a horrific, horrible thing to do, is more mundane now. And then having children when you're ready. So you're in a very good time, a very good stage. But I always went ahead and did what I wanted to do. I was always told no, that I couldn't do anything that I wanted to do when I had opportunities. My mother was a strict Orthodox Jewish woman, very dominant, and I couldn't. I got a job Friday night. She called the police because I wasn't home early
Oh my
enough,
goodness.
things like that. And yeah, and she cried to the world why I wasn't married yet. I was 21.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember going to this cleaning store, and she cried to the strange lady, you know, what should I do? My daughters, I had an older sister, they're single. What's going to happen? So I got scared and I wanted to be there for my parents. So I got married early, but I've been married all this time. And
That's a beautiful thing.
yeah,
Congratulations. That's
yeah,
that's something to be extremely proud of.
yeah. Marriage is worth it. It's work, but it's worth it because you just change one problem for another. So you may as well work out the problems you have. It's really worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I know you mentioned professional women, the study that you did on professional women in a relationship and having children. So that is, we can just go to talk about your books because I wanted to do that. So is that the What Price Power book, the in-depth study?
Yes. Yes. So that was a very important book to me because at that time I was home and I was standing in the supermarket actually, and I saw this mother in front of me with two kids. And I said, why is she so happy? You know, what makes her so happy? Why am I not so happy? I have two kids, a husband who's an attorney, a nice lifestyle. So I did research on that. And I found that women, the U curve is that you have both feminine and masculine qualities. And women who have both qualities need to follow through on both. And also, if you had a mother who was not happy staying home, you eventually seek for yourself what your mother didn't have. So I was seeking also to do that. So I did research on that and found out that the women who had the careers and had the family had the best relationships in general. Sometimes in the midst of it there was problems, but if you could persevere, really the husband often had some less of the responsibility, more of the nurturing roles. The women had more responsibility, had more say in what they wanted to do. So across the board, that was my missing link. And because of that, I went back to school and I got my PhD. And everyone said, "You're crazy. What are you bothering for?" And before that, I was accepted to Columbia University, but for my
Wow,
graduate studies.
congratulations.
Thank you. But then again, I had to leave because my husband promised he'd watch the children, and they were never really taken care of the way I wanted. He'd call me up and say, "Oh, Alana is watching TV. I'm not home. I'm still in the city." I said, "What? She's watching TV and you're not home?" I said, "I'm not going to continue this." So, like 4 o'clock in the morning, I had my midterm. And I had at that time these old computers that didn't save. So I had everything on the floor. And of course, I went like this, finished this, and then I lost it all.
Oh
And I,
no, no.
and of course, the teacher thought I was making it up.
Right. Dog ate my
Sure.
homework.
Right. You lost your, right. Sure. Of course. And at that time, it was a signal. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was exhausted. I didn't feel my, so women still have this double bond of taking care of the family and being out there and making sure everything is okay. So I had that back and forth. So I did both. I had, and people said, "Oh, you're so greedy. What do you need it all for?" Yeah, there's always something missing. So I had the family, I had my career. I did it both. It was a juggling act back and forth, but nothing would have made me happier than not to do than to do something else, just to do one or the other. You need both. If that's what you want, you should really go for both.
I love that you said double bond. I'm going to remember
Yeah.
that. The double bond was a great buzzword. It makes all
Yes.
the sense to me. And, you know, I think we are very similar in that we want to have the profession. And now that I know that I want to have children, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like I have things that I have dreams and goals too. So I just have to find that balance. And, you know, what would be the best recommendation for anyone out there who wants to work full time, and what kind of care would you suggest for home, like babysitters or
Well, it depends the age. So we're talking about a newborn. You want
newborn?
someone who's experienced in doing this kind of position. Now, there's different stages. I mean, you could have a live-in nanny, and to really trust that person, that's priceless. I mean, that's a lifesaver. Can you imagine coming home to a cooked meal? The kids are happy,
Yes.
they're playing, everything's fine, your husband's happy, and you did what you wanted to do. You established your image of who you are. I mean, that's the best thing. If you can't afford that, um, and you can find people. I had a wonderful Polish lady in the beginning. I had like 8 different people coming into my home. Nobody worked. I just kept getting rid of them. But so in the beginning, you want somebody who's an expert in taking care of babies. When a child is a certain age, they need play with other people, with other kids too. So if you can take them to a reputable nursing center or care center for them, then they have fun with that. Then after that is preschool. And I hate to say this, but if kids don't go to preschool, they miss out now because everybody else does. And then they'll be
Yeah.
ahead of them in kindergarten. So those are the stages, really, when you have a child, of what to do. But as I said, the most guilty women were women who had to work, and other women that didn't have to work found the right people, and they felt good about themselves and they felt good about the kids. So it's a choice that you're in. But yes, absolutely. And your child will do well too, because it's a change for them too, to see you, to see somebody else, to see their father, back and forth. It's a nice interchange as well.
That's beautiful. I love that. Let's talk about life begins at 60. I know we covered a little bit of it already on this podcast, but I love your topic about reinventing yourself. So, what advice can you give to someone who's looking to do the same?
Right. So retirement should really not be a word anymore, because people are not retired. They're not just, retirement means you're not living, you're not part of life anymore. You're not being productive. There's no use for you. You're just going to go and look at some different, you're going to look at people living their lives. You're going to be an observer. And really, it's reassessing, redefining who you are because you have a luxury now. Maybe the kids are grown and you know yourself better. What is it that you always wanted to do? Did you want to act? Did you want to sing? Did you want to do art? Did you want to do something in business? Uh, do it. Go ahead. You can do it in such a way where you can enjoy your life too. You can pick the time. You can have the luxury of travel as well. You can have downtime. You can have the hours that you want. So it's, reinventing yourself is something that's on the upbeat. It's something to look forward to. And, when we talk about life, isn't that what it's all about? Getting better and seeing yourself better. I feel that there's so much out there to do, and there's such excitement that the word retirement is just depressing. It's just something that, I'm never going to do. And I'm talking about people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even. You can have that kind of control over what it is that you do in a direction that you may not have even known before that you were capable. I mean, I always wanted to be, since I was 17, in the media, but instead I did what I was supposed to do because to my parents, being in the media was like being a prostitute. God forbid, Orthodox Jewish family, come on, I can't do much. I'm supposed to get married, have kids, and shut up, and that's my whole life. But the more
you did quite the opposite. You did quite the opposite of that.
Look at my jacket. You like it? I mean, the more.
Look at my pants. We're both wearing leopard print today.
So you're the mini leopard. I'm the big leopard, whatever that means. But so I was always told no to everything I wanted to do, and I had big opportunities, and I said no to. But then after a certain time, I said yes to everything. And I decided that enough is enough already. I can't continue to do something out of guilt because my parents were Holocaust survivors and try to fix them and mend them, which I did. I mean, I changed completely when I found out, from this happy, carefree person to a person who did psychoanalysis and helped other people because I could feel other people's pain. But, when you're aware of all these things and you see how important every day is in your life, then you make constructive thinking of what you really want to do. And then the next step is to go ahead, because it's pretty simple. If you put it out there, you get it back. You make the phone calls, you make the connections, you network, you keep your mind open. I was watching something on HGTV and I saw the name of this director. And I said, you know what? I'm going to call him up. That's simple. I called him up and I said, I'd like to interview women who have defied the odds and have been involved with men's roles. So I was able to find women who actually did daring skyscraper, feats of climbing it, and an Indian woman who came, really her life was being threatened because she wanted to be a doctor. They would kill her over there.
Oh my God.
So she was interviewed. She was very careful. She was a very fearful, somebody who owned a brewery company, a CEO who left her husband at home with the children. He was the caretaker and she traveled. That was really interesting because she lived a man's life, and her life was really out there. And these men, you have to be careful when your husband travels because there's all kinds of characters out there. What can I tell you?
I agree.
So that was something I did just by one phone call, that this director came and we went, and he had all these people around, and I had a book signing and a gay pride parade. I mean, I was all over the place. So I'm just telling everyone that if it's important enough, you won't stop. For me, it's important enough. I'm not stopping until I get what I want. And I want to be able, I
Not
can't.
stopping till I get what I
Till
want.
I
I
get what I
love that
want.
attitude.
I'm going to keep going, and I'll say, I'll be on my deathbed. Wait a minute, I'm not ready. I have to finish this thing. I have to do that still.
Right.
But yeah, but basically, so people want to know what you want. They don't even know. If you tell them something that makes sense to them, uh, could be something that they did not think about. See, this is my wonderful phone, and it's usually a scam. There it is.
I get
They
so
call
many of
me.
those spammy calls all day long, all day long.
Oh,
I don't know how I need to just start blocking. It's unbelievable.
and if they can't pronounce my name, so they'll call me doctor because they think that's my first name.
Oh
So
my
I'll know
God.
already. But if you hear a click before they answer, you know it's a scam because it's a company they're recording, whatever. But so that's basically where we're going with what we're doing. Personally speaking, the minute I said yes, I got everything I wanted. If I got a phone call, uh, I was I was called to be on was it 2020? Um, and after I was on 2020, I got a lot of phone calls from a lot of other shows. So it's the connection that everything you don't do, you're missing out on other opportunities as well. So what do they say? Luck is preparation, and being available at the time. And so you have to be able to always be surprised when something happens, be open to change. And that's really a life lesson we all have to have.
That's the most beautiful thing I have heard, as well as so many other things that you've said on this podcast. So tell me real quick, because we are running out of a little bit of time here, but I want to hear more about your podcast and what the listeners can expect.
So what I did was, because I was so much into um, anti-Semitism, anti-racism, discrimination, I had a lot of successful Black young men on, first of all. I had one from the hood. I called to the CEO, and I'd like to interview him for his show, uh, who really, didn't have fathers, didn't have the sob story, weren't victimized, and made it on their own. So a lot of it, most of it has to do similar to what I went through. And that is people who succeeded in spite of. I had somebody who was blind on, and he was writing, he made a film, and I mean, doing more than most. So don't blame your background. On the contrary, your background will motivate you more to succeed because you don't feel as entitled. You don't feel that life is easy and you'll get everything you want. The harder life is, the more uncomfortable you are, the more comfortable you will end up being in the long run. So put yourself out there. Don't make it easy on yourself. And therefore, you will get everything that you do to put yourself into the right place. And people who are listening, go ahead, pick up the phone, go ahead, network, go to that organization, listen to something that you see you want, write that book, go to the library, find other books that are similar, or Barnes and Noble. I mean, I never thought my book would be in Barnes and Noble, and there it was.
It's incredible.
Because I saw other people. So there's nothing wrong with seeing what other people are doing it and doing it yourself. Just network all the time.
I agree. I try to do the same thing because you just never know who you're going to be connected to. And if we don't network, if we don't put ourselves out there, then how are we ever going to know what could possibly be? I don't know. That's
Yes,
how I
and
feel.
well, first, it's not only about that. It's knowing to identify. A lot of women, especially, are jealous of other women or envious. No, if you see something about the other person that you think something of, go ahead and do it yourself. Don't see the other person in a negative way, because women who are the least productive as far as finding themselves are the most manipulative and the most competitive. Women who are very accomplished don't have to compete. They don't have to prove themselves, but they're smart enough to say, I like this and I want that. instead of feeling victimized, because it's very easy to blame other people.
Agreed.
But go ahead and find your own niche. So basically, that's what I'm continuing to do. That's what's exciting about my life. And I'm going to continue till, even if they stop me, I'll continue.
I believe you. I totally see that in you. And I know this is an audio podcast, but Dr. Frieda looks like she just turned 50.
I love you. I'm going to, whatever you want, I'm here for you.
Yes, I just
My hair, I
love this
just have to have my hair
conversation.
done.
Your hair
Yeah.
looks gorgeous.
You know, it's
Gorgeous,
funny. I
gorgeous.
had extensions before, and they were down to here.
Mhm.
And she cut them because they were getting whatever uneven. And I don't even like the way I look right now, but
Oh, no, I
they're
think
very
you look
sweet.
absolutely stunning. And I
Very
love that we're
sweet.
both wearing leopard print and
We're both,
blonde.
you know what? We should call ourselves the Tigers.
Oh, I
We should
love
have a
that.
group, the Tigers, and whoever fits under there. You know, you need to get something leopard. I was going to have a show called Badass Women,
Love that.
because, these women are out there. I have a motorcycle jacket that I love to wear. I love those jackets.
Oh my God, I love a motorcycle jacket or like a military style
Yeah, I love
jacket.
that. And I have one with little things on it, like flowers and decorations. I have one in pink. I have one in blue. I have one in black,
Oh yeah. I mean,
whatever.
you have to have the
It's
color of the rainbow.
Yeah, it's fun to let go. And it's interesting because we're ending this with where you started, which is letting go and having fun. Because the whole thing, your whole life is really not about making money. It's about living your life to the fullest, and letting go and having fun is like 90% of it. If you're doing that, then you get people connected to you. If you're somebody who's happy, success follows. It's not success and then happiness. People have it all wrong. It's what you pull in that contributes to where you're going. So remember, it's not being selfish for women to do all the right things for themselves. On the contrary, it brings other people in, that you're a role model and that's what they want to aspire to. It's really the opposite.
I think that's the message right there. Thank you so much, Dr.
Love
Frieda, for
you.
coming on today. I love you, and I
I
will
love you. You
definitely
better
stay
tell me about your
connected.
kids.
I
I want to
will.
hear. I want to hear how happy you are that you can do it all, because that's the only way to go.
I'm manifesting it.
I love it.
Thank
Your
you.
husband's a good guy too. I can see
Well,
that.
we're not married. We're not
Oh,
married yet, but we're talking about all of the things. And so I just feel really blessed and grateful. And I'm happier than I've ever been in
well,
my
he's a
entire
good, I
life.
could see that on your face. But
Oh, thank
you
you.
have to be with a good person
I
to feel
agree.
and a good person is more important than anything else that you can have.
I
Anything
agree.
else
I
except
feel
for your
so
health.
blessed.
But a good
Yes.
person in your life will give you everything. The littlest things you'll be happy with.
And your
Anyway,
husband must be a gem because I can
my
see it on your
husband,
face when you talk about him.
yeah, well, my husband is somebody that, we grew up at a different time. So the role models were different. But don't worry, I taught him what he needs to do.
I believe that.
He
Of course
became
you did.
okay. Of course, I had to. I had him on my couch too,
You had to
analyzing him.
modernize him.
Yes, I had to. And he's much better now.
Good, 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 good. Well, again, I've just enjoyed this conversation with you, and I will
Love you.
absolutely be in
And
touch. I
get your
love you.
husband and get your boyfriend for his 50th birthday. That's what I got my husband, a motorcycle. That made him very happy. And he has now 4 motorcycles. I don't know if
Oh
he
my
rides more,
goodness.
but
Well,
you give
my
him
boyfriend
back
doesn't
what they
like
want.
motorcycles, but maybe I could get him an Aston Martin if
Okay, not a
that's
bad
his
deal.
favorite. That's his favorite car. So I've got a lot of work to do before
Okay,
50.
that's good. You'll get there. You'll get there eventually. It's a good thing. It's a great goal.
Yes,
That's a
I
great
agree.
goal.
There's no reason why I can't. So that's the goal.
You put it out there, you get it back. Remember that.
I agree. I agree. Well, I hope you have a beautiful day.
My
Thank you
best
so
to you.
much.
Love you. I love everything about you. You're doing all the right things. You're never going to have any regrets. Always do everything and don't look back and say you're sorry. Keep doing everything you want, and you won't worry if you missed anything or not, no matter what happens. Love you. The best to you.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Ageless. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Tune in next week for a new episode.